What is up, YouTube? James Baek here. Welcome back to another episode of VGC 2018 Back-to-Back Battles. Today, we're using the Mega Banette team once again with Mega Banette, Incineroar, Araquanid, Ferrothorn, Nidoqueen, and Tapu Koko. Let's get started and play some games. So overall, this team, very fun. If you haven't checked out the previous episodes, highly recommend go check them out. Mega Banette has been putting in quite a bit of work. I'm actually very impressed by Mega Banette. When I originally thought I was going to use Mega Banette, I'm like, this is going to be struggle. It's gonna be really hard. I'm not gonna like how it plays, but after looking at some calcs, after utilizing the Destiny Bond and actually putting it into play, it is something that has done a lot of work, and that's something I really like about the series of how I do it. Like, I make these teams obviously, and you know, sometimes I'll probably not think it's that great, and then the Pokemon ends up really impressing me, and that's what I think a lot of people just don't do. They don't look at some of the uncommon Pokemon, and then what happens is that they ignore its potential, and I think Beta's been putting in some work. I'm not going to say it's like a really high class tier. Obviously the other Trick Room users are probably still better, but Mega Beta does have a niche, and it's been working out pretty alright for us. Our opponent here, Gardevoir, Tyranitar, Rotom Wash, Amoonguss, Heatran, and Landisfarine. This reminds me so much of 2015. Like, this is a team I would play back in 2015. I actually would play this team. There was also Thundurus sometimes over the Rotom, but I played both variants. It's really fun. Okay, so my opponent has one answer to Ferrothorn, which is the Heatran. If I can get rid of Heatran, I do feel very confident about this game. So how do I want to do this? Nidoqueen does a lot of work. Nidoqueen can do a lot of damage. Araquanid can do really well under the Trick Room. I think I want to go... I do want to bring Tapu Koko. Incineroar's not that great here, but the Fake Out Pressure could be nice. But I think Banette, Tapu Koko, and I think Ferrothorn plus Nidoqueen is what I want to go here. I'm not exactly sure what combination my opponent's going to bring here. I think Heatran's definitely coming. It's the only way my opponent can really beat the Ferrothorn effectively. Gardevoir is coming for sure, I would assume. I think Gardevoir's alright against my team. Amoonguss is questionable. Landorus is questionable. Tyranitar's a bit questionable. I feel like there's a lot of Pokemon that can be brought here. I think maybe the Rotom, because of the fact my opponent doesn't exactly have good Araquanid switch-ins. Heatran plus Landorus is going to lead. Okay, interesting lead for my opponent, as I will lead my Banette and my Tapu Koko. So, do you kind of want to go for a Destiny Bond? Or do I want to go for the Trick Room? I think Destiny Bond is an okay play. Let's see what the items are. But it looks like it's going to be a Choice Scarf on that Landorus variant. And... okay, Shuckaberry and Choice Scarf. Okay, so that means a double up won't be able to knock out my Banette. I am wondering if this is like something like a Scarf Landorus. I don't really need Tapu Koko other than this terrain. My opponent doesn't have terrain control, so I really don't need this Tapu Koko anymore. Even if it's Scarf Earth Power, which I could see this Landorus being. Although I would really more lean it towards being physical. I think I'm okay with letting my Tapu Koko go down this turn. Because a free switch in the Nidoqueen under Trick Room is so devastating for my opponent's team. And the Landorus is forced to lock into a move. So I think that my best trade-off here is just to go for the Gigavolt Havoc. Attempt it. I know I'm probably not going to get it off, but I mean, if I do get it off, that's great damage against Heatran. It could be a Protect from Heatran. We are just going to see that Protect. So I'm guessing this is Earthquake. Yep, just Earthquake. So Tapu Koko's going to go down, but I didn't exactly have a safe switch in. Ferrothorn could have switched in, but then what am I going to do against the Heatran the following turn? So Tapu Koko going to go down. Banette taking a lot more damage than I was anticipating. Jeez, that's a lot of damage. As I will go for the Trick Room here. So now I can bring out my Nidoqueen. And the question is what my opponent has in the back. If there's a Rotom, you could switch out the Heatran into the Rotom Wash and Earthquake. Or, if my opponent doesn't have Rotom, you might switch out the Landorus. So, there's a bunch of mind games here. I don't think Heat Wave knocks out my Banette. I think Shuckaberry Heatran will go down to an Earth Power since it's Life Orb Sheer Force boosted anyway. I think I'm just going to double up the Landorus slot and try to get as much damage onto that Landorus as possible if I can get the knockout. Or if I can get Gardevoir on the switch, I think both work beautifully in my favor. I definitely think Rotom Wash would maybe come out here. I think Rotom's pretty good. We are going to see the Heatran switch out into the Amoonguss actually, so not the Rotom. But Amoonguss is still okay for me, as Landorus is going to retreat too. Is this a Gardevoir? No, it's a Rotom, so no Gardevoir on my opponent's side of the field. That's actually pretty interesting. We'll be able to get an Ice Beam off into this Rotom Wash. Not going to be able to do too much damage, but hey, that's damage, as well as Shadow Claw into the Rotom for a good amount of damage because it is a critical hit. Now I can just go Ferrothorn and protect my Nidoqueen. Because Ferrothorn under the Trick Room is going to do a lot of work. I could probably just Bloom Doom the Rotom. Yeah, I don't really need my Bloom Doom at all for this game. I guess maybe against the Landers it could be useful, but I had to get a Swords Dance up. We'll bring out the Ferrothorn right here, as Nidoqueen will protect. And let's see, Hydro Pump and Rage Powder. Most likely we are going to see that Rage Powder come out, which makes a lot of sense. And I'm guessing Hydro Pump into Nidoqueen. Oh, it's a Waltarium variant. So that Hydro Vortex, probably you would assume it's still going on in Nidoqueen. I just can't see it turning down the Bayonet slot. I'm glad I protected. Although I could... Yeah, and I'm pretty glad I protected, actually, instead of switching out the Nidoqueen into Ferrothorn. One, this position traps in Heatran, because I can go for a Earth Power into a slot and pick up a knockout, most likely. And Nidoqueen, not exactly taking that well, though. That did a lot of damage. How many turns of Trick Room left? 2 or 1? 2, okay. I think I'd rather go for the Bloom Doom into Rotom and then Earth Power. I'm guaranteed pretty much a knockout into that slot, unless my opponent switches out into the Landorus, which I'm not sure my opponent's going to go for the switch out on the Landorus, but it could be a possibility. I think Rotom protects. Amoonguss could go out into the Heatran. I could definitely see that play. But I do want to catch the Heatran, because if I get rid of Heatran, my Ferrothorn's looking really good in this matchup. So we'll see what my opponent does. And knocking out Rotom is just one Pokemon that my opponent doesn't have the option to switch in. We're going to see the switch out here into the Heatran, so I do catch it. But the question is, does Amoonguss Rage Powder, or does it protect here? Looks like no protect, so that's pretty good for me because of the fact that we have no protect from this Amoonguss. I am going to be able to knock out the Heat, and no Rage Powder, so I'm just going to be able to get Earth Power off. But what is Amoonguss going for? It can't go for Spore in the terrain. Is it going just for a Poison move just to get damage off? I mean, that's not really going to help my opponent out in this case. We will get the Bloom Doom into the Heatran slot, as we're going to see the Spore come out into Nidoqueen. Don't know why, though. Here comes the Shuca Berry coming out from the Heatran, but again, doesn't really matter, as the Heatran does go down there. So, Heatran getting eliminated, and now it is a interesting spot. It is an interesting spot. Oh, Rotom's going to come out. Okay. I mean, Rotom is a free Swords Dance, so I'll definitely take it with my Ferrothorn. I will go for the Swords Dance, and I might as well just protect my Nidoqueen, since Nidoqueen is so useful in this game. Amoonguss could retreat into Landorus, but I punish that with a Swords Dance. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about my spot here. Let's see what my opponent's going to do, as it's going to be protect from Rotom to stall out the last turn of Trick Room. No surprise there. Is Amoonguss... What is Amoonguss going for? I mean, Spore is really worthless here. Don't tell me it has HP Fire. It shouldn't have HP Fire. It has HP Fire. And it crits me. Although I don't think that really matters too much. Oh, what? What? It actually has... Why do I call these things? It's a curse. Okay, I have to hope for maybe a miss now from the Rotom. Maybe a Hydro Pump miss. We're going to see the Hydro Pump. Nidoqueen does avoid, so I am able to knock out the Rotom. Okay. Still a game. I do knock out the Rotom. Hydro Pump miss was huge. Hidden Power Fire is probably going to come out. Oh, Spore. Okay. So it's a Spore and a Nidoqueen. I Power Whip because it does cover the Lander switching, and an extra Swords Dance really doesn't benefit me here. That's damage on the Amoonguss. I kind of wish the Amoonguss actually tried to KO the Ferrothorn here, though. I think that would have been better for me. Lander's going to come out. I think I need a double. No, I don't even think a double will save me. Maybe if Ferrothorn lives the attack? I don't know if you protect Amoonguss or you're just going to go... I think you lock yourself an Earthquake. I think you have the Earthquake set up. Endgame win. If Ferrothorn lives in Earthquake, that could be huge. I'm going to Ice Beam and... Actually, maybe I should have just Power Whipped. But it looks like Amoonguss is not protecting, so Earthquake's gonna come out. Oh, but I still don't think I win. I don't think there's a way to avoid this Scarf Landis endgame. Unless maybe Fairforn actually had more health. But I think that Earthquake just procs the Amoonguss' berry. There's the berry. Hidden Power Fire Amoonguss just for the Kartana and Fairforn. Oh man. Hidden Power Fire. Yeah, and there's nothing I can do. I was hoping my opponent would what I was hoping my opponent would do there, like the previous turns, instead of Sporn and Nidoqueen, because Hydro Pump pretty much picked up a knockout, unless I switched into Bayonet, but I don't think Bayonet was that threatening. I thought it was going to be Hidden Power Fire to Ferrothorn, then it's Bayonet and Nidoqueen, then I could Destiny Bond Protect, because if you lock yourself in an Earthquake, you go down to the Destiny Bond, and then Nidoqueen versus Amoonguss, I should be able to win with Nidoqueen, depending on some sleep rolls. But, yeah, I don't think there's a way out. I don't think there's a way out. I mean, I'll try, but I'm pretty sure. Maybe, okay, you would have to. No, I shouldn't have went for the double. Okay, if Landers crits the Earthquake on his own Amoonguss, his or her Amoonguss, then I win. But that would have to be very specific right here. Crit your own Amoonguss. That's what I have to hope for. Nah, that's not a crit. That's going to be a good game. So Bayonet's going to go down. At least we're going to bring it down to Landers. If it wasn't a Hidden Power Fire Amoonguss, I would just be able to win right here. But unfortunately, it has to be one of the very few Hidden Power Fire Amoongusses in the game. And that's going to be a good game. You know what's funny too? Even though I got like the double and the Hydro Pump miss, if the Hidden Power Fire crit didn't happen, I actually might still be in this. Because how much did it do? It did like 120. No, it did. No, it did. Yeah, it did 120 damage. So it did 90. If it got the same roll, I would have 1 HP. And if Power Up connects, I'd be able to win. Ah, dang it. Dang it. I need to save the Bloom Doom, I guess. We're going to see the Hidden Power Fire. That should be able to knock out Ferrothorn. It does about 90 normally, it looks like. Good game to my opponent. Hidden Power Fire Amoonguss, man. I did not expect that. Was not expecting that. It was something we used to run. Something that was theorized to run. But man, good game. I think, okay, if I wanted to win that game, I had to save the Bloom Doom, it looked like. I really didn't think my opponent would expect the Bloom Doom though, which is why I thought, okay, Rotom just protects you, I'm able to get the Bloom Doom off. If you switch into Heatran, I also knock it out. So, tried to cover a lot of things there, I think. Also, if I Power Whipped the Amoonguss earlier on, because if I Power Whipped the Amoonguss, or maybe got Swords Dance earlier on, I would have been able to do more damage to the Amoonguss, which would have been pretty big, because maybe I put it into range of where Landis' Earthquake knocks it out, so maybe my opponent can't lock into Earthquake. Or if you lock yourself into Earthquake, you could potentially lose. But then again, I think Ferrothorn does go down to the Earthquake at the range I was at. I think I need a little bit more HP to survive, so oh well, we're going to take a loss for the first one of today's episode. Hopefully we can pull it back for the second game of today's episode. Yeah, it's a pretty good game, as we got Ugly from the United States, 1456 rating, with the team of Landers, Volcarona, Zapdos, Kangaskhan, Ferrothorn, and Tapu Fini. Okay, so it's good old Kang Volk. This is pretty much a good old Kang Volk team. Scrappy Fake Out's a bit annoying. Rockwind can put in work. Nidoqueen sort of puts in work, but I'm not exactly too fan of it. I think Incineroar, Bayonet, Rockwind, and Landis are the ways I want to. I mean, not Landis. Ferrothorn are the ways I want to win this. The Zapdos is going to be annoying. I know that for a fact. Don't think Tapu Koko's that great here. Nidoqueen's alright. It helps the Zapdos. I don't know if you're going to bring Zapdos. I think you bring Zapdos. I think that. But I could see you not bringing Zapdos. I think I could see Kangaskhan, Tapu Fini, Ferrothorn, Volcarona. I could see the Landers. There are a lot of things I could see my opponent bring. I think there are a lot of options. So, I think I'm just going to go Bayonet plus a Rockwind. The reason is, if my opponent decides to lead that Kangaskhan Volcarona lead, I either get Trick 'em Up or I get a Liquidation and potentially just knock out the Volcarona, which I think is very good against my opponent's team. And if my opponent leads Kangaskhan, plus something else, I could always just double out an Incineroar, which is what I'm planning to do. So let's see how this goes. I need Ferrothorn to handle the Tapu Fini. I gotta be worried about the Zapdos. Zapdos is definitely a big deal. I'm hoping Rain Dance plus Liquidation can do a lot of damage. Kind of sometimes I wish I had the Z move on the Araquanid, but I think Berry's also been really helpful. Although I feel like in a lot of the games that I have played with this team, I just missed the Berry proc like so much. Like by just a little bit of HP, I always miss a Berry. Alright, Ugly, show us what you got. And show me your items. Kangaskhan Zapdos leads, okay. Against Bayonet and Araquanid. Let's see if your Z move on the Zapdos. I think it would be Misty Seed or potential Berry. Frisk, Mega Stone, Citrus Berry. Ooh, Citrus, okay. Just attempt a Trick Room, go on the into Incineroar. It's a very safe play, I feel like, turn 1. Yeah, I like the turn 1 play that I have. Even if you Scrappy Fake out my Bayonet, it's no big deal. And if you try to double up the Araquanid, Incineroar is going to be able to take both attacks. Incineroar is sort of important because, yeah, it's actually really important. I need a lot of Pokemon here. I need Incineroar to beat down Ferrothorn if it's in the back. I need Araquanid for damage because it's my main damage dealer against Zapdos. There are a lot of things that I do need. Let's see. I know Mega Evolution, so there's going to be a Scrappy Fake out targeting down the Bayonet and just a Thunderbolt. Probably just targeting down the Araquanid slot. Yep. Okay. Not doing too much. I'm just going to set up a Trick Room. And I kind of want to Flare Blitz because I don't want to waste my time if Ferrothorn comes in for the Zapdos slot. Yet, Fake Out doesn't really hurt at all here. Except if my opponent goes for Double Edge Thunderbolt and doesn't proc my Berry on Incineroar. I am a little bit worried about that actually, so I think I will go for the Fake Out on the Zapdos. It is a bit obvious, but I feel like it is safe. I don't want to Fake Out Kangaskhan. Kangaskhan's not that big of a threat in my opinion, especially with the Intimidate on it. So, looks like it's staying in normal form. Maybe it's doubling up my Bayonet slot. As Zapdos flinches, Kangaskhan just going to go for the return. Alright. Into the Bayonet, doing an okay amount of damage. It's not like the biggest amount of damage. Do get the Trick Room up, and now it's time to attempt to sweep. So, who's faster? I think my Incineroar is faster, so I can knock off Shadow Claw. Yeah, I can knock off Shadow Claw here to Zapdos, and I think that is worth. I could also Destiny Bond, but I'm not exactly sure how worth it is just to go straight for a Destiny Bond. I could also see a switch out from my opponent. Landis is definitely a very big switch here if my opponent does have it. But I'll be able to get a decent amount of damage into Zapdos, hopefully put in that liquidation range anyway. And if my opponent switches out, you're not KOing a Pokemon here, which is pretty big. So let's see what my opponent's going to do. But right here, I'm just trying to get rid of the Zapdos, because if I can get rid of the Zapdos, so big for my team. No switch outs, and Kangaskhan's still staying in normal form, so just going for the scrappy attacks. Knockoff and Shadow Claw. I mean, Shadow Claw's a powerful move. Ooh, barely. Just goes for regular low kick and Incineroar. Oh, he's not proccing my Berry. Smart. But target's not Bayonet. Okay. I don't know if this means the Kangaskhan a Sucker Punch or not. I think I'm going to Destiny Bond here. In case my opponent goes for a scrappy attack, I really don't want to catch a Destiny Bond. And I'll U-turn to Zapdos so I can get maybe my Araquanid in under the rain if I decide to go for it. Because, I mean, I don't have to make that play. It is going to stay in normal form. So it's still going to keep Scrappy around. I will U-turn here. That should knock out Zapdos. Yeah, okay. So knock out Zapdos, which is really good. I'm able to bring up my Araquanid for free, basically. Since I'm guessing it's either a low kick here or attack into Bayonet. Or I could go Ferrothorn. But Araquanid just puts on so much more offensive pressure. Everything except Fini doesn't like Araquanid. And I could just bring out my Fini if that's the case. Return going to come out into the Bayonet. Nice. Nice. Okay, so Bayonet taking the Kangaskhan with us. So my opponent didn't want a Trick Room going up later in the game, decided to target on the Bayonet. But you always gotta watch out for that Destiny Bond. We will get in my Incineroar, I think, here. It does give me Fake Out pressure. I get to intimidate a Ferrothorn if it's in the back, a Landorus if it's in the back. Volcarona is going to be one of my opponent's Pokemon. Maybe Volcarona Tapu Fini? No, it's going to be that Ferrothorn. So Incineroar is looking pretty good here. My Ferrothorn is absolutely worthless though. uh, is there anything Ferrothorn can do that can knock out Incineroar? Maybe if it's Tectonic Rage. I don't want to call it like the last one because there was an HP Fire Amoonguss we did face. I'm just gonna Flare Blitz. There's no reason not to Flare Blitz in Liquidation here. I get a KO. If you double protect, I still have more turns of Trick Room to work with. 2 more turns exactly. So you need a double protect, and even then it might not help you. So in a pretty good spot with my team. Although Ferrothorn ended up being worthless in this game, but not much I can do. Here it comes to protect from the Volcarona, and let's see what this Ferrothorn is going for. Gonna be just a power up straight into the Araquanid, which is not gonna KO at the -1, even if it was choice banded. Yeah, that's not really doing too much. Liquidation gonna go out into the Volcarona slot, and here comes a Flare Blitz that should be able to knock out the Ferrothorn. Yep, Ferrothorn goes down. Iron Barbs plus the... Oh, wow. If you proc Iron Barbs before the Flare Blitz recall, wow. I didn't expect Incineroar to actually live that turn. Okay, that works out beautifully. That works out. Yeah, and I guess there's really no point. I could switch out, but I don't think there's a point. Knock off an item, I guess, and Liquidation. I mean, Liquidation is just going to KO the Volcarona before, and I don't think Volcarona can knock out a Rockrunners. Well, maybe if it's Buggium. I have to watch out because Bug Buzz actually could be a threat if it is Buggium. The Bugsy move. If it's Buggium, what do I do? I don't protect here because if my opponent Quiver Dance. I don't know, but you can't really afford to Quiver Dance here, right? I'm not exactly sure what my opponent's supposed to do. I feel like Knockoff and a Flare Blitz might knock out the Volcarona, and Bug Buzz might not knock out my Incineroar. So, all the way, I think it's just Liquidation and Knockoff here. It is Z. It's just Inferno Overdrive. Okay. I don't think Inferno Overdrive should be able to knock out a Rockrunners with the Water Bubble ability because, of course, for any of the new viewers, Water Bubble doubles your Water type attacks before including the stab factor, as well as prevents the Pokemon from being burned, as well as reduces the damage taken from fire attacks by half. So, if Charizard Y Flamethrower wasn't able to knock out my Rockrunners, there's no way Inferno Overdrive was able to proc the Wiki Berry. Knockoff gonna fire off into this Volcarona. That does a lot. I'm pretty sure Knockoff and the Flare Blitz would have just knocked out this Volcarona, as we do get a Liquidation off into the Volcarona, and that would be a good game to my opponent. So we're able to take the second game of today's episode. Yeah, just really big there. No Landorus, and no Tapu Fini. 2 Pokemon that can give my team some trouble. I think Volcarona doesn't really give me much trouble. Maybe the Zapdos doesn't carry a fire type move because sometimes they carry maybe Hidden Power Ice on that variant. If it's Hidden Power Ice Zapdos, you had to bring Volcarona because Ferrothorn was just such a big problem for your team otherwise. So I can understand it. And Ferrothorn helped your team from not getting swept by a Rockrunners, I guess, because it was a Pokemon that can actually take attacks from a Rockrunners. And yeah, as we find our third opponent, Pikachu, that was fast. United States, Texas, 1621. Como stuff. Okay, I'm okay with Como stuff. Charizard is a bit scary, but we do have Rain Dance. So, Bayonet, Incineroar, Nidoqueen, Tapu Koko. Pretty much the same thing we always go against these teams, I think. I think it's scary because the Landorus is questionable. I feel like it should be special Landorus on this team because of the fact is, I don't know, that mean Bulu would probably be the only physical attacker, unless Como's mixed. But even then, I don't think I like that. Let's see what my opponent's going to do, though. I mean, my lead is very safe here. I just lead Incineroar, fake out, get Trick Room up with my Mega Banette. I survive any attack other than maybe an Overheat coming out from the Charizard. And even then, if Charizard does lead, maybe I want to fake out Rain Dance. I don't know if you're going to bring Charizard, though, because I feel like Gengar is better against my team. We're just going to see the Whimsicott Gengar lead. Classic lead. And Focus Sash and a Gengar, right? Yep. Pretty standard stuff. Get this Intimidate off, which isn't going to affect the game. And, as always, same game plan as before. Mega Evolve, get Trick Room up, and the fake out into the Whimsicott. So let's see what my opponent's going to do here. How is my opponent going to react? There's not a safe switch in you have. under Trick Room. Nidoqueen's going to destroy my opponent's team once I get it in. Let's see how this is going to go. We will see Gengar Mega Evolve here. And what are we going to see? I could also Destiny Bond, but I'm not sure if Destiny Bond's going to work well here. Get Bayonet. Whimsicott just going to protect, which is fine. Okay. And Gengar probably just going to go for the Shadow Ball. Double protect. Huh. That puts on 0 offensive pressure against me. I guess maybe didn't want my Incineroar. Maybe didn't want to risk Incineroar being able to knock out the Gengar. But still, that's just a free trick him up for me. And I took 0 damage. So Bayonet's healthy. Probably an Encore coming out, I would assume, into the Bayonet. So, yeah, I would assume. Okay, I don't think you faked your Shadow Ball Bayonet slot. I think at worst you're going to Shadow Ball that slot. I think you're going to Encore here. I feel like Encore makes sense. Yep, Encore. And Flare Blitz. Maybe you Shadow Ball. I don't know, because, well, Trick Room would go up immediately. Trick Room would go up and reverse the Trick Room. Maybe you're going to go for the Shadow Ball, trying to knock out that slot. We got a Flare Blitz burn, which helps, but it wasn't exactly necessary. And now my opponent, ooh, disable. Ooh, try to Encore disable my Bayonet. Ooh. Okay. So we reveal it's a disable Gengar, which really helps. Let's find out what my opponent's going to bring out. Probably that Tapu Koko. I mean, not Tapu Koko. Oh, we're going to see Landers. We're going to see Landers and not the Como. Okay. I have Ice Beam for that slot, and I will go for the Ice Beam. Not sure if you have Protect on this Landers. They usually run Assault Vest or Choice Scarf on this team. And I might as well, since I'm not really too worried about the Gengar right now, just double up the Landers slot just in case it is like an Assault Vest. As Gengar will protect here, scared of the Earth Power or just wants to get an Earthquake off. But knock off an Ice Beam, that's definitely knocking out Landers. There's no way Landers is surviving this. It is an Assault Vest. I'm pretty sure Ice Beam can KO an Assault Vest, like through an Assault Vest Landers, but just to be safe, I mean, Gengar, a crit Shadow Ball wouldn't knock out Nidoqueen, so overall the play was alright. As let's see, Como should probably be the last Pokemon, I would assume. Como's going to come out. I do have a Tapu Koko. Not really worried about the Como. Could be a double protect from the Gengar, but I still have turns of Trick Room to work with. Yeah. So I'll go for the Earth Power into the Gengar, and I'm going to go for the U-turn into Como and get in my Tapu Koko for that Dazzling Gleam pressure. So looking pretty good here in this end game. It's just going to come down to whether Gengar gets multiple protects. Maybe does Como get a crit. Actually doesn't even go for the double, so I'm pretty sure that just seals it up. As Incineroar will retreat here. We'll go out into my Tapu Koko. You know, so I can reduce the damage as well as pressure Dazzling Gleam the following turns. Okay, so Tapu Koko comes out. We'll go for an Earth Power, which will be able to knock out Gengar. There's no way Gengar is living a Life Orb Sheer Force boosted Earth Power. Gengar goes down. Great. And the Como probably just going to go for a Z move, and I'm probably going to have to cut out because, of course, this animation is copyrighted. So we'll be right back after the Como clangs its scales and does its battle dance. Alright, so went for the Soul Blaze, did damage to Nidoqueen. Just going to go for the Gleam, and Como, I think, is forced to protect here. Yeah, Como's forced to protect here. I think just go Bayonet here and go for the Dazzling Gleam is a very safe play. I could also go for the Electrium if I want to style, because I could go for the Electrium just to get a bit more damage on the Como, but I might as well just go for Gleam. I don't think the Electrium, I'm not sure. The Electrium, I don't think puts it in single target Gleam range. I don't feel like it would. Como gonna protect. It's forced to. And there's no way my opponent should be able to knock out my Bayonet, but just in case, we'll go for the Trick Room here. And Dazzling Gleam, you can only KO one target with Como, and even then, I don't think you can even knock out the Koko unless you do crit. We're going to see the Flamethrower come out into the Tapu Koko slot. A crit would make this interesting, but it's not going to crit, so that should be game. Going to be able to get a Dazzling Gleam off. Oh wow, single target Dazzling Gleam just knocks out the Como. So I would assume it's a minus special defense nature then, so we are able to pick up a victory after all against my opponent, and that's going to be 2 wins, 1 loss in today's episode. Hope that everyone enjoyed today's episode of VGC 2018 Baek Battles. If you did like it, please leave a like down below, show your support, as well as you can check out the rest of my stuff down below in the description, such as my social medias, besides my channel. Check out my Twitch channel for live streams for Pokemon VGC and a bunch of other games. And yeah, feel free to leave a comment down below if you have anything you want to say, as I do read them. And of course, if you do want to try out this team, the team is in the description down below for those of you who do want to try it out. Otherwise, that is pretty much it. Have a great day, people, and until we battle again, I'll catch you all later.